Hi Matt, I'm just going to quickly show you how to do these elements using the joinery tool. I've made some improvements that enable all this to happen quite easily, so I'll just show you. Okay, select the tool. I'm just going to set some rough sizes here. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, I've already been playing around with this, so you see the kick height's a bit higher, so it's set to that 230. So I'm just going to set all the panel arrangements, and I'm going to add the posts and rails in. So first we go to our function arrangement. Turn these panel gaps off, that's a new feature, and I'll show you how we use that later. So we've got 9 rows and columns. They're all pretty much just single story. We'll turn off this global function and we'll set these to go, let me just have a look at yours again. Alright, so it's left, left, right, so left, left, right. Let's look at the very first, then we have left, left, right. Okay, the next one is actually a bank of drawers. So you can configure different drawer banks. I've only got 3 in here at the moment, but you can do, I think, up to 7 or 8 different drawer bank configurations, number of drawers, sizes, and all that sort of thing. So I'm going to set this one to drawer bank 1. This one is off, there's just a shelf in there. This is also drawer bank 1. And then this one, the drawer is actually at the top, so all these panels start at the bottom and work up. So if I want something to be at the top, I'm going to have to split this. As soon as we're going to have 3 drawers here, I think it's a third. So if I split this into 3, so I'll set that to equal 3 stories. Turn the first 2 stories off, so there's no panel at all, and this can be drawer bank 2 because that'll be a different drawer configuration. This one is also off, and this is our new height adjuster, digital, and it's on the right hand side. Okay, let's have a quick look at that. We're part way there. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to set the drawer settings. So we go to our drawer configs, we do bank number 1. It's going to have 3 drawers. They're all equal height, fits to the cupboard, so that means it stays within the height of the cupboard. That defines these heights here. We don't want our cutlery drawer on, and we don't want the double drawer on at the top either. Okay, drawer bank 2. Now drawer bank 2 is going to be the single drawer that's the same height as these, but so we copy that height there. Go to drawer bank 2, we'll set this to 1 drawer, if not fit to cupboard. The height is 607, 8, 7. Okay. Right, now we're a lot closer to this configuration. We need to turn off this beam, this front beam here, and we need to turn off some of these partitions. And then we need to set the door style. So I'll do all that. So to do the beam, we go to benchtop and carcass, and we turn off the front beam, or we turn off the rear beam as well. And then we go to do the internal partition. So internal partitions. Now this can get a little bit convoluted in here because it can be a bit messy. So I'm just going to expand the height of this so I can make sure I can see everything. Okay, so our pillars, our partitions, we've got partitions inside these doors, so they're probably off, so I'm going to turn them off. The 2D, the representation of these partitions is not showing up. It should be showing elements like this. I'll fix that. So they're off, off. This one will be top, that just means it goes around the beam. Top and major are very similar. Top, 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 and then this one here is off and off, and that top. This one end on major. Should be major. Leave it as end for now because that might work. And then this one is off. So you can see that's now turned off. And we'll have a look. Oh, you've also got that panel off on the side there, so I'll turn that off. And that's not working. We set that to major. Okay, so this should be set to major, and that side panel is off. So we need to do the side panel back in the carcass, and that's this right panel here. So we turn that off. Okay, that's looking a lot better. We'll do the panel styles now. So we go to door panels. Now, the way these openings are counted, so you can see there's 11, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this was split into 3, so it's 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So we want to do, first we want to do panel 1, and that's just going to be plain. Now, these automatically changed because if we have a look, panel 2, I've got it set to match panel 1. Okay, so that's good. So now we want to go to panel 4 for the drawers, and in this we'll use this new contour style that I set up for you specifically. And we'll just set these sizes. This is the positioning of the contour element within the panel. So that's right there. That doesn't look like it's showing up right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3. Matching. These are too large. These should only be about 10, maybe a bit more than that. We'll set it to 10 and then at least that way you can see what's going on. Okay, so now that's 4, 5, 6 is the same as 4, so we can go into 6 and we can just put match panel 4. And then we can go into, it's not 7, 8, but 9 for that drawer, so we go to 9, and again match panel 4. Okay, so that's our panel styles configured. Now we want to get rid of this kick and we want to put the posts in. Let's just do the bench top first. Bench top, yours is a little thinner, so we go to bench top and carcass. We'll set this to, I think it's 35, might be more, not 25. 35. The rear is the splashback, these are new as well to accommodate your elements. So we'll do the curved splashback, and the front is the half round. So you've got the height of the splashback here. I think yours is also smaller. There's 60. Curve radius, I've got that set to 20, and the thickness of the splashback material is 4 mil. Okay, so now we're looking a lot more similar. Final stage is to do the posts. First we want to get rid of the kick, so let's go to general sizes and let's turn our kick off. So you can see the kick's disappeared, that's dropped down, but that's alright, it'll change when we put the legs back on. So we'll go to legs and casters now, turn on the legs. We've got already 4, so this is, you set the number here, so it's equally spaced. And obviously we need 4 for this element. That's our legs. And you can see that's now jumped up because we've got this 230 base height, which was the same as the kick height. That's the same value. We're going to put casters on these. And it's not a caster, it's a foot. And I think the foot is actually a bit shorter, so 40 mil foot height. Okay, look at that. The posts are looking good. We might just change the material for the posts and rails. I actually haven't set a material in here at the moment, so you need to go into all parameters, 3D settings, and it's the bottom one. I'm just going to set that to something that does not have an image. Something subtle. Okay, so things are looking a lot closer now. We've just got to put the rails in, and it's these elements down the bottom here. And that's quite easy to do as well. We just go to the next page down, which is rails. Now, rails, I'll turn them on. This is a little bit complex initially. Each rail has both vertical and horizontal elements, and they can have different height settings, but they can have different shape settings. The external and internal elements have different shape and size settings, but not the vertical and horizontal. There's no differentiation there, and which you do have a differentiation in this one, in that your vertical elements are 30 by 30 and your horizontal are 40 by 20. So in that case, we need to create two levels, and we'll just use the vertical of one and the horizontal of another. So let's start with the bottom one. It's the vertical, so we want to set this to, I think it was 230 plus then half the width, so these are going to be 30, so let's do 30 by 30s here. And these are not circular, they're rectangular. Our offsets are not 100, 0, 0 here. We'll work that out, I think it's a bit different. I think this is actually going to be 35, that's half the post width, which is 25, plus the element itself, half of that, which is 20, so half of that is 10, so 25 and 10 is 35, so that's our offset for that rail. Okay, so in this one, we actually want to turn these off. Okay, and we want to set this, I think it's this bottom value, to 245. That's that 230 kick plus width. So you can see that sort of jumped into position there. And then in this one, you click on the button to set the settings of this element. And this one we have 0 of our vertical elements and 2 of our horizontal elements. And this will be at 245 plus half the width of each, which is 15 plus 20, so that's 35. That should be 280. That's the top one, because the top value sets the horizontal elements, 280. So I think that's correct. Now let me just set these. Width is 40. We're going to have an internal by depth is 20. Okay, let's have a quick look and see what we've got. Okay, it looks like we've sort of got it right. We've just got to adjust this bottom now. So that's 30 and 40 is 70, so we need to lift that up. We do that in the function arrangement for the panel gaps down here at the bottom panel gap. We set that to 70. Okay. And that's lifted everything up. Now we'll just check our rails and make sure they're good. So we need to move these rails in here. I thought I offset. Oh, that's right, I did the wrong one. Okay, so we go in, back to our rails, set the top one, and it's 35, I believe, is the offset. Click OK, and there we go. That's it. So that is a replication of that configuration. We can put the door handles on as well. There's a few different door handle types. I'll just go and show you that. So if we go to door panels and we go back to panel 1, we go to handles, then we can go for just a standard handle. I'll do this one, and we will do all same. If I want to put that there. X is, this is offsetting from the top, so X will just go 100, Z 100, length, I'm not sure what we're working with at the moment, 40, let's have a look and see what we've got. Okay, so that's handles there, it's not quite right. And that's more like about 15, and this is probably more like about 50. Let's have another look. Okay, that's a lot closer. And we didn't want that also hang because now we've got those same handle configurations on all those other elements. So if we go to panel 4, off, 6 is off. Okay, that's good. Because they replicate, they're saying. Okay. Click OK. So that's the first configuration. Doesn't take much to achieve that, so now let's go along and do the other ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this, bring it over here, and we'll do this one here, the simple one first. So obviously that's going to be pretty easy to do. All we have to do is adjust the width. I'm just going to say it's 1500. We need to go into the functions first, and we need to reduce them. There's only one function in this, so we can just go 1. That function is a digital height adjuster, and it is on the right hand side. Okay, now we need to go to our posts, our legs and casters. So in this instance we only have a 2x2 grid, and same with the rails. So we go to this bottom level and we go 2x2. Click OK. Right, that's still a much larger element than what we have here. Yours is it's 900 with 50 mil overhangs. So let's do that. Let's do 900. And we can have a look at the benchtop carcass. If we go to general sizes, that gives us the overhangs of the benchtop. So one overhang, left and right overhang, rear overhang. And these are the angles of the element as well, angles of the benchtop. Okay, so now let's turn off some of the carcass elements here, these panels. So we go into benchtop and carcass, turn off the left, and we turn off the base. And turn off the rear. Click OK. Alright, and that's the next element completed. Let's move that a little bit out of the way. And now we need to do this final element. So I'll just make a copy of that. Go into 2D. So the 2D representation, I don't think I've got the benchtop showing on any of these at the moment. So just go into the settings, 3D representation, benchtop, turn that on so we have a fill, and you can have the fill settings, fill type, fill background colors. Okay, and we've got the benchtop 2D lines, the left one's turned off at the moment, so I'll turn that back on. Okay, there's our benchtop. We can also show these elements in various levels of detail using our LOD function here. So you see we've got the joinery element, so carcass panel and the functional element, and that can be set 3D and 2D. 2D I've already set this separate, but obviously there's various representation possibilities within this object. Okay, next, the final element. So I'm just going to rotate this. I'm not going to worry too much about the general size. I'm just going to get the configuration right, but I'm sure it's pretty close anyway. So first, what I want to do is I want to get rid of this overhang and miter this edge, because we're going to have to join two elements to make this one. So miter these edges, 45. Now I'll go in and get this first one pretty close to correct before I work on the next element. I'll just move this Now, okay, the rail heights are a bit different. So let me just go in and adjust them in these two. They're 100 higher. So let's go to our rails and set these to 345, 380. And click OK. Now, next thing we want to do is we want to get our function here, which is our winder. Go into here and go to our function arrangement, and that's the height adjuster, and it will on the left hand side. Okay, there we go. Now we want to put the shelf down the bottom here. The best way to do that, because we have this miter, is to use the base of the carcass. So it's this base here. So we'll turn that on. Now you can see that's down there because we still have only set that the panel gap to 70, but we raised those out, the rails up 100. So we need to go back to our function arrangement and set this bottom panel gap to 170. Put it on top of those rails. Okay, so that's basically the first one. Now we're going to go into the 2D, and I'm going to mirror a copy of this. Okay. Now, we need to get the leg placement correct. So what we need to do is we need to actually turn off, as you can see we've got a leg there for this element, and we've also got one there, so there's a double up of legs there. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn these two off, and then we're going to put two more on this element, and we're going to push them out into the positions at this rear corner and where this element is now. So let's do that first here. So we go to legs, casters, and we set this to 1. Okay, so that's them gone. Now we go into this one. Now it's important to pay attention when we're doing this to the position of these elements. So first, you're not given the position when they're equal, so I'm going to turn this equals off on here and on here so I can get the position. So that's at 900 and it's 575 deep. So that can stay equal. So what we want to do now is we want to add a third row of legs in, third column of legs, or however you look at that. And we haven't set them to equal, so that's just defaulted to 0. So that should be 900 plus the 575, so that's 1475. 75 and 1475. And I want to put my feet on that as well. Click OK. So there now we have the correct post arrangement as well. Let me just see if we can go back so you can see your element 2. So there we now have the correct arrangement of posts. And the bench top. Let's do this bench top first, because it's different. You've got square edges and you've got another edge here. So do this element first. Yes, and we'll go to bench top and carcass. We'll set this to the square splashback. And we'll set that to square as well. And then we also want the left side to have a splashback. Okay. Alright, so now that looks more like that element. This one, almost the same. The carcass, rear splashback is square, and front is square, but there is no side splashback. Okay, so that's the element. Oh, we've got this. We need to turn that function off. Let's go to the function arrangement and set that to off. Okay, So that's basically the setup there. We just need to get these rails correct. So as you can see, we've got no rails supporting this aspect down here. So we need to extend those through. So what I've done is I've put hotspots for extensions on the rails. So you can just grab this hotspot here. Away. Put that, the hotspot's there somewhere. Bring it up here and it'll be easy to locate. I should probably put some sort of a element on here. It allows you to get that hotspot better. Okay. I might need to put some nodes that just make it a little easier to connect to these elements because you can't really see the hotspots perfectly. Yeah, it's pretty close. Let's do that and maybe I can do this. Yes, I'll find a hotspot there. This one, this one. Now those hotspots are joining, and I just need to pull one of them back by 20, so that should be 510. No, oh, it's 20, so that should be 520. 520. This one we need to add 10 to 540. Okay, and there are your 3 configurations done. So I'll send you this file so you can select these elements and favourite them, but that should help you configure these on your own as well. Okay, ta.